Hi Taurus, it's your turn for your July 2019 Oracle Blessing. Just a few words to start. This is not predictive in any way. My intention is simply to just use the Oracle cards to facilitate some well-meaning advice for you to help you just be a little bit more on path and in alignment with your highest good for the month ahead. So to start, let's actually do a short meditation. So place one hand on your heart, one hand on your belly, and close your eyes. And take a deep breath in and a slow breath out. And just taking a moment to observe how you're feeling physically, mentally, emotionally. Noticing if there's anything you're wanting, needing, yearning for. If you have any pain, just becoming aware of your current state. And then with that awareness, just bringing your attention up above the crown of your head. Connecting with your higher self. And I'd like you to give your higher self permission to connect with my higher self. And while we're connected in this way, let's also call in the support of our spirit guides, our archangels, our well ancestors, Reiki masters, highest energy from all corners of the universe. And ask that they support us in ensuring you receive the message, the advice you need to be a little bit closer to your highest good, a little bit more on path, to get the most out of the month ahead. Good. And our personal energy is not connected. Our egos, I'm not taking any of your energy, and I'm not giving you any of mine. We're working with higher energy. And at the end of our time together, our energy will no longer be connected. Okay, good. So I am offering you a 4-card reading, one card from 4 different decks. And I'm starting with the Ethereal Visions Tarot. Okay, so any advice for Taurus, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus for July 2019. Anything they should keep in mind to be more in alignment with their highest good. Awesome. So 4 of Wands. So this reminds me of your energy. It's just kind of grounded energy. Kind of having your needs met. Let's see what it says in here, though, just because I'm used to pulling it in a different context. I just want to make sure I have union, celebration, promise, and community. Okay, so I would really see that if it were advice, right? Because whenever I see that, I'm like, ooh, marriage and whatever, you know. But what I would see that as is, kind of focusing on connecting with the people in your life in the month ahead, celebrating all of your accomplishments, everything great in your life, and focusing on your relationships, what you love about your relationships. All right, from the Chakra deck, any wisdom, advice for Taurus, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus for the month of July 2019. I think they need to keep in mind, and we'll put these all together at the end, keep in mind for the month of July. So they're a little bit more in alignment with their highest good, so they can get the most out of the best month ever. I love July. I know Taurus loves July too. He very chill sign, right? So laying by the beach, laying on the beach by the ocean is a great pastime for relaxed Taurus energy. I'm Taurus rising. We like to lounge a little bit. We also like to celebrate and have fun. But July tends to be nice. All right, so these aren't your cards because 2 of them came out, but they want your attention, so we're going to bring them. So some messages: impatience and insecurity. So just noticing if there's anything you're manifesting right now that you're feeling kind of like agitated about because it's not coming to fruition. And notice if you're beating yourself up about it, because sometimes, you know, especially if we have this card, if you're like waiting for the person that's going to be your potential husband, for example, and you're starting to feel impatient, like, why hasn't this happened yet? I'm a catch. Like, what the hell is the problem? What tends to happen is you start to beat yourself up and think that there's something wrong with you. And this is just a message of that is not why this is happening, and to just let that go really immediately. It has no place in your month ahead. Okay? So if you're feeling insecure and impatient, catch yourself. You're lying to yourself. You know not why you haven't found that union yet. The real reason is much deeper. It's much more to do with you and what you actually want. But let's see what the cards indicate. Advice for Taurus, now that we know a little bit more about it. Okay, we have a few more messages. We have rejection and faith. So if you are rejecting people or you're experiencing rejection, just having faith that those people weren't the right ones for you. And you know that already. You're on it. All right. And your message is confusion. So this is a neutral card. It looks like it has a negative message, but none of the messages in this deck are at all negative. What this card indicates is you need to be okay with the fact that you don't fully know what you want at this moment. You think you do, but you want multiple things. There's like, you have like all these different aspects, and you're confused maybe why everything isn't aligning perfectly. And the message here is to just let yourself be in that space in between knowing exactly where you're going to end up, knowing how things are going to work out. So if you're maybe leaving behind something that was really structurally sound, like a really great job, and you're moving more towards your dreams and everything like that, and you don't know how it's all going to come together, what you're being invited to understand is that is such an opportunity. It's so cool to live in that space. You grow so much in that space where things aren't a sure thing. And you learn so much about your soul, your true essence. You get to work on your relationship with yourself and spirit. So try not to be too impatient with that energy, because it's actually healing energy. It's empowering energy, and it's going to make you more badass than you've ever been. And if you're seeing it in other people's lives, just trusting that, you know, if that energy is serving their highest good. Try not to analyze it. I know Taurus, you guys can really worry when things aren't structurally sound, like if things aren't all in their place, right? And you have a maternal energy, so just don't worry about if people are confused, they don't know what they're doing. It's okay. They're going to be all right, you know? Don't let yourself get too worried about it. Just trusting that everything's happening exactly as it should. That time in that very floaty space is really kind of, I think of like a seed or something, like a seedling, or like from a tree, floating in the wind, and you know, maybe it didn't plant itself right next to the tree to plant a tree, but it's just kind of like floating, and then it will find its perfect spot to turn into the tree that it's going to be, or whatever plant that it is. Anyway, maybe that's not a good analogy or metaphor. two messages that aren't your cards, but that you're being called to, is what you want wants you and the sacred fool. So very consistent with these other messages. Kind of focusing on having fun and getting your energy into alignment. Don't worry so much about what you don't understand. There's no space for that right now. Just trust that you're in this place of kind of going with the flow for a reason. You're being taught something, and knowing that the thing that you are working towards, that you know in your heart that you want more than anything, it wants you back. And even though it hasn't happened yet or manifested yet, it's because it hasn't been right. It's not the right thing, but the actual thing is out there and it is coming. You have to be patient though, and be willing to go with the flow. I know that's not the Taurasian's favorite advice. You are an earth sign, but, you know, as a rising sign, I have found, even though it's hard to experience change and that flowing energy, it is incredibly freeing and super, super healing. I'm very grateful for it. Okay. I'm realizing that some of this reading is for me now. Forgot that I was Taurus rising. Okay, what is the message for Taurus for July 2019? One card, please. So, Taurus energy, you like nice things, you like beauty, you like to make things feel good, taste good, smell good, look good. You find the smartest way to go about things. You work smarter, not harder, which I think is really, really a great message from Taurus energy. And this can sometimes be seen as laziness. It's not laziness, it's just, you know, you value your downtime. So you do things in a way that doesn't cause you to have to overdo it. It's not to say that you don't work hard. You very much like the nice things in life. Okay, Sacred Fool wound up being your card. So interesting. So yeah, you're being called to just go with the flow right now. You've already made the choice what you wanted. You're kind of letting go of some of those like very firm, structured foundations that are sure things, so that you can have the actual thing that you want. So you've had things that were mirroring this in the past, that union, that structure, that the real thing that you want. But it seems like you're moving, or the people around you are moving more towards the diamond in the rough, like the real experience. And the way to do that is to not over worry about it, to embrace the change, to embrace the confusion, and to go with the flow and have as much fun as you can, be as positive as you can while you're in that state. Go out and play. Then from the goddesses, Taurus energy. Taurus is goddess energy, ruled by Venus. You have, I can never say her name, Kotelakku, and she represents grief. So giving yourself some time to grieve the things that in the month ahead that you are kind of saying goodbye to. A lot of times, you know, Taurus can be cool and collected and you know, but you feel very deeply, you care very much, and making sure that you honor whatever it is that you're letting go of right now to make room for this true union, this true celebration. And having space in your life where you understand how special and sacred grief is. This process of actually letting go of something that was so good to you, that was so special to you, that you really, really cared about. To have the opportunity to care about anything that much is such an honor. It's such a privilege. And it's also evidence that that is possible and that more things like that can happen. Yeah? So hold space for whatever it is that you're letting go. Don't just pretend that you don't care about it. You know that you do. However, you are making room for something special, and it's going to feel a little ungrounded. So in that space, just allowing yourself daily, maybe as a practice, to Set the intention of letting go, of releasing, of feeling into your heart, of acknowledging all that has come before that is no longer with you, and having deep, deep gratitude to have ever felt anything so deeply as you did. This isn't an indication that there's going to be a reason to have grief necessarily. It is probably more of an indication that you are working with grief currently and not acknowledging it fully. So if there is an undercurrent of grief, that is probably why you are having some pushback for that union, that celebration, marriage, or whatever it is that you are really calling in your life. And by you really going there, breathing into it, acknowledging it, you're going to get closer and closer to having the space to really open up to what you actually want and stop moving into this idea of like, I'm being rejected or there's something wrong with me or whatever. That's not true. You know it's not true. All right, that's what I have for you today. The most important message of it all is to embrace just going with the flow and try to have as much fun as you're in this slightly ungrounded territory in the month of July. The ungroundedness is here for you. It is a treat. It is a gift from the universe, even if it doesn't feel familiar. I love you very much. I hope you have so much fun that you get to lay out on the beach and enjoy the hell out of July. Namaste. Bye.